What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is February 22nd, 2024. It's 4:07 in the afternoon and market is closed. God help your souls if it can't go any higher today. Bunch of people lost money just because they can't accept the fact that the stock market is where it's at for whatever reason, mostly because of what's going on around you in your day-to-day life. Guys, if you can't get a hold of the fact that the stock market, Wall Street and Main Street are two completely different things, it's going to be a very difficult journey for you every time the market makes new all-time highs. Okay? If you were paying attention last night, Nvidia crushed earnings and had a massive run-up. 13% they were up at open and ran up to be as high as 15% up on the day, somewhere around there, if I'm not mistaken. The Qs were the winner today. They dragged SPY up all day long. But let's go ahead and launch chart and talk about it, because today was spent most of the day begging people to stay out of puts after the chart proved to us that it was the right thing to do. Now, I say that because I'm going to say this. All of these levels high that we had are synthetic levels. And what I mean by that is this was the only one that was based off of support and resistance. These were calculated levels using pivot points, Fibonacci levels, and all kinds of other stuff. So once we get above that, I got nothing else. Okay, I got nothing else up here. And it just becomes very difficult to trade based on the way I trade using levels. With that said, as always, we define a pre-market range that we stayed in for the most part and call and put scenarios. Now, I have a hard time playing calls during all-time highs. Now, with that said, I wasn't going to play calls if my call scenario was if we opened up somewhere up here. Wasn't going to be a thing. I wouldn't even have a call line. So the fact that we pulled back made me feel better about the potential of at least giving me enough room to get into calls if we cross this line to the upside, getting out at this yellow line here. Okay, that was my call scenario. My put scenario was a breach of this blue pre-market low line, looking for a minimum move of our first target, maybe even our second. But the original plan was entry, exit, okay? Today's open, all the stars aligned. Now, as I said to you guys, the chart very clearly and quickly gave us no reason to play puts, but it wasn't at the open. The call line was nullified at the open because we opened above that line, okay? You can't play it if you open above the line. So instead, we needed to see if we were going to breach this line to the downside. We were going to hope that everything that we look for is agreeing with that sentiment. And as luck would have it, we started to reject and move down here on SPY. Qs popped up real quick, started to put big wick on the top of this candle, indicating selling pressure. ADD was printing red, and Nvidia looked just like the Qs. All systems go. That gave us the okay to jump into these puts. We made it down very quickly to our target, closed below that target, which is why I held on a little longer. We were also keeping an eye on the Qs. The Qs had just broken their support and made it down to this pre-market support. We tried to push down through it a little bit, but once we recognized all these wicks staying here and understanding how strong the market was today, we were talking about that all through pre-market. Guys, I'm not excited to play puts today because of how strong the market is. However, I had a plan, and only one plan was going to allow me to take puts. That plan executed because everything that I wanted to see happened. It's the only reason I took the puts. Okay, it wasn't the most comfortable trade. It only became comfortable because everything that I needed to justify that trade happened. Okay, now I got out of here right around a 20% gain myself. Then that ended up being the low of day. All right, that was the low of day. We come back up. Call scenario. Call scenario is still in play. Very strong market. I would have preferred to play that, but because we opened above it to begin with, the call scenario only works if you're coming up from beneath it and break through it to the upside. Just like the put only works if you're coming down from above it with a break to the downside. That's it. That's all we're doing. Aggressive trades, yes, but that's what we have come to be accustomed to playing. A lot of us play these calls and puts. All right. This trade was epic. Breach here. Oh, and by the way, the contracts at this time of day weren't moving nearly as much as they normally do. So yes, this was a 20% win, but a move like this would have paid a lot more normally. So I don't know what was going on. Just volatility was crazy this morning, or it crushed really quick. I don't know. Just the return wasn't as great as it usually would be. That said, we started to move up, and we had a report at 9:45. We breached the call line, ran straight to our profit target. Some folks took it, some folks didn't. Some people waited for the breach of that resistance line and got in here. Nonetheless, guys, this move happened very fast, and it kicked off a pretty wonderful bullish day. Now, excuse me. Now, while we were chopping around in here, nothing worth playing. We start moving up. Okay, now I'm getting people, Jimmy, when do you buy puts? When do you want to buy puts? This is when I realize how many people, and I've got screenshots of people predicting the inevitable pullback that we're going to have. I'm not going to share them in this video because I don't want to call those people out, but I wanted to use them as an example in our group today. I blacked out their names. Guys, if you as a trader can't accept what you're seeing with your own eyes and then inventing a reason based on your inability to trust what you're looking at, please walk away from the chart. If you're sitting here telling yourself every reason why this thing has to come down while you're watching it do the exact opposite, it's not going to work well for you. It is not going to do well for you. I was all but begging people today, please, 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 please do not play puts today. Okay? Now, I have counter trend traders in my community. Okay? I don't like to leave them out in the rain, but there are 2 occasions that we hinted at the idea of taking puts, not me. So you're not going to see arrows here, but because I wouldn't have done it. But for my counter trend traders, if we break this green trend line, I'd be looking for this move to come back to the first yellow line. If we get through that, we'd be looking for the next yellow line. Guys, all we're looking for is breaks of support. If that support breaks, we expect it to move down to the next support. If that support breaks, we look to the next support. And as you can see, this one right here held very strong, never to be seen again after it hit it, okay? Counter trend trades, short and sweet. If I happen to take a counter trend trade myself, I'm getting out at the first level of support if I'm buying puts that I run into in an uptrending day. That's just the way I play it. Now, you don't see a white arrow here, but we did talk about it, okay? We held support here right up to the day's resistance, chopping around, chopping around. Now, Jimmy, why are you not playing breaks of resistance on the way up, even though you're saying it's an uptrending day? Well, that's very simple. I don't like not having proven levels of resistance above me. I told you guys at the beginning of this video, these lines are synthetic lines, meaning they're not proven levels of support and resistance until the day gets to them, if it gets to them. Okay, I'm not comfortable with buying all-time highs. I'm not comfortable with buying high-of-day breakouts, let alone at all-time highs. Okay, it's uncomfortable to me. Now, everything we were talking about was buy calls on pullbacks. Buy calls on pullbacks. Buy calls on pullbacks. Don't buy the high of day, buy the pullbacks. Pullbacks to support. Support, turned resistance, back into support. Sure, go ahead and do it. I don't know if it's going to stop at the day's support, but if we get to that the day's resistance, if it gets there, move your stop loss up. Trail the run. Guys, zoom out. Take a look at this chart. Do you know how many people were dying to play puts today because it can't go higher? Do you have any idea how much that destroyed people today who have that bias? I'm begging you to stop ignoring what you know about yourself and start acknowledging what you might not know about yourself. Because if you can't get past yourself and your emotions and your own feelings, you're going to get crushed. You're going to get crushed. Okay, I only took one trade today in this massive move to the upside. We had a $5 range today. I took a single trade, and yes, it happened to be puts. I explained my position and why. I explained my position and why before the market even opened today. No bias. In fact, it was the trade I didn't want to take because of how strong the market was. But all systems pointed to go, so I executed. So did some other people in our community. But I would have rather this thing open down here and then run up through that line. I would have felt much more comfortable. Okay, NVIDIA is a beast. Ended up closing 16.4% up on the day. Insane. It dragged the market in the Qs. The Qs closed the day up almost 3%. Okay, this is why SPY just keeps floating up. Buy pullbacks to the trend line. Buy pullbacks off support lines. We could see them all over the place, guys. If you don't know what a level of support looks like in a trending day like this, anytime we're moving up and we suddenly stop and try and go the other way and it can't and then it moves up again, that is a level of support. As you can see right here, it tried to come down. It didn't. Buyer stepped up, bought us up to the next level. We pulled back to where? That same exact point of support. Bounced off of it, made it to the resistance, got through it, created a new line of support here. Okay, old resistance, new support, up we go. Support here, support here, support here, and support here. Okay, so for pullbacks, you want to make sure, again, this is no put territory at all for me. You're not going to see any down arrows. I said to people, counter trend traders, at least wait for the trend to break. If we can get below that green line, I could see us moving down to 506.93. Okay, look it. It's right here. Close below it, okay, which happened to be right at a support level. So we need to get through that first. The next one we talked about was right here. Okay, it blew right through that and went right to this one. Bounced off, up we went. Then we were talking about, I wouldn't buy puts now because we just put in a higher low. That ended up being a good recommendation. We barely made it above this last lower high here, only to come down. Now, at this point, I wasn't looking at taking any trades or even recommending any trades, but somebody had asked me on the way back, Jimmy, let's talk about pullbacks, when to buy them, and what have you. Okay, well, at that time, I quickly switched over to the Qs, saw that, hey, Qs were pulling back right to a support level. Told everybody, guys, if Qs could hold this support, this would be a good time to buy pullback. Okay, we're trending up on the day. We put in a higher high here in relation to this one, coming off of a higher low. As long as this support holds, the Q support holds, you can have a nice tight stop. Let's go for it. I'm expecting it to run right back up to 507.97. I think I said 508 for short. In, off support, out at resistance. Oh, but Jimmy, look, it kept going. That's nice. But if you got caught in this red candle, everything you would have had here, you lost almost all of that. You definitely lost all of the profit that you would have had here and gave up a good chunk of it by waiting for it to pull back. Okay, I don't mess this late in the day. This move here, because we were seeing how much you would have lost if you would have waited for this thing to pull back to this point. You could have got these contracts at the money, slightly in the money for $140 a piece. They got as high as $560 in this move to the upside. Great trade, beautiful move. By the time it made it right back to here, it was back to the price you paid all the way down here. So that's what kind of pullbacks this late in the day, how much they hurt. Okay, so just be aware, guys. I don't got much to say about this video other than if you can't recognize a very strong market overall where almost the entire top 10 was green for the good majority of the day, Qs were just chugging along to the upside. NVIDIA, which was the reason that everything was green this morning, was still pushing up. I don't know what to tell you. I will also tell you this. I'm swapping out Apple for those of you who watch my charts or use my links. Apple is usually over here. I'm switching it out for NVIDIA. Okay, Apple is not something I pay attention to much anymore because it doesn't have the weight that it once had, in my opinion. So we're keeping an eye on NVIDIA and on the Jimmy D Jim Decatur. For those of you who were asking, I also swapped out Apple here in this for NVIDIA as well. Okay? So that's pretty much it. For those of you who got anything in this out of this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. If you'd like to join our Discord community, well, there's a link down below. We'd love to have you. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to tell you to stop going to our website because I haven't done anything on it. I don't really care about it anymore. Pretty random, I know, but whatever. That's pretty much it. Hope you all had a fantastic day. I hope you played with the trend. I hope you bought the pullbacks, and I hope you didn't try and short the top every time we made a new one. As if you did, you had a rough day. You had a rough day. Know thyself. Know where your weaknesses are. Work on them, fix them, or learn how to avoid them altogether. That's my opinion. And we'll get at it tomorrow. So thanks for watching. I love you guys. Till tomorrow. See you.